The year was 1986, a charity in Cleveland, Ohio. They're looking for something to get the buzz going about their new fundraising campaign. They looked at Disney, who the year before had just set a world record for the most balloons released at once, and thought, we can do better than that. Balloons can't be dangerous, right? Welcome to Cheeky Tales.
Well, we know in this day and age, balloons are dangerous.
Super dangerous, kill lots of things, animals, hate them. Balloons hate animals.
So when you first mentioned Balloonfest 86 to me, I had no idea what it was. But just from the sound of it, sounds like just someone releasing a bunch of balloons. And,
I mean, it's not a hard concept, is it?
And stuff went sideways.
Yeah, pretty quick, turns out. I guess we should introduce ourselves, seeing as it's episode 1, John.
Probably should.
So, you're John.
I'm John.
Giveaway is the fact I called you John.
And
I'm
your
Aaron.
boy.
Yep, sure. Glad we just talked over each other for that.
I know. We got, 1 minute into the episode?
1 minute in.
Immediately talked over each other.
Going to keep happening too.
So good.
We've got no skills.
No, first time we've ever done this. Balloonfest.
All right, Balloonfest, boy. So,
Yes,
what
by
are we
the way,
doing this for?
What do you mean?
Well, we want to tell cheeky tales, don't we?
Yeah, Cheeky Tales, yeah.
Cheeky tales. Third name we've had today, but
Not necessarily unexplained tales, just interesting stories, I guess, isn't it?
things that I want to tell you about.
Yep.
And now ruin our friendship by never talking to each other other than on recording.
On recording.
That's going to be...
Like another podcast we might listen to.
maybe. All right, let's dive in.
Sure.
So,
Float away. Float me away with your cheeky tale.
all right, let me tell you a bit about Cleveland because it matters. I'm not just giving pointless backstory. So Cleveland is a city in Ohio in the US, sits on the shores of Lake Erie, the southern shores. So picture up in that like Great Lakes region of America. So, northeast,
Northeast, right? Yep.
northeast, lots of lakes. Cleveland sort of sits on the shores of one of them, right? That's called Lake Erie. The northern side has Canada. So
Okay.
southern side,
It's that north.
it's that north,
Right.
right up the top there. So you got Lake Erie, Cleveland on the bottom, Canada on the top, right? Pretty flat. So like Adelaide in Australia, super
Never been.
flat. Okay,
So it doesn't-
pointless reference for
Exactly.
you. Super flat. You fly in, there's nothing, right? I'm talking about Adelaide. I'm sure Cleveland's the same. Never been. Maybe one day, probably not. But
We're
super
going to watch
flat.
those Browns.
Super flat. It's got northerly winds from the lake, right? So northerlies from where they blow, right?
It'd be pretty cold there too, isn't it?
I imagine like
Quite high. Quite
pretty north,
pretty north. Well, I say high, I mean north.
right? As a map, north.
Yes.
Yeah. So winds blowing in, right? They create lots of storms. So you're getting lots of storms in this place. Pretty temperate though. So throughout the year, doesn't really change much. So not as cold as you would think, but still pretty cold. It is north, but
High.
so they get these thunderstorms, right? 1.7 million people living there in 1986. So that's your background. That's the city, right? Now, what's this event? Early 1986, you got a non-profit organization called United Way of Cleveland, and they're looking to do some fundraising, make a bit of buzz, get some moolah in.
What were they fundraising for?
I did look into that when I wrote this, and I can't really remember, but I'm pretty sure United Way do like homeless people reach out.
Right, sure.
Sort of community work, like that sort of thing. So they look to Skyfest, which was a Disney event that was held in 1985, and they, at that event, set the world record for balloons released, right? Also, I love the naming scheme of this, right? They look at Skyfest and they go, well, balloons, Balloonfest. Didn't shoot far for that name.
I imagine at this time in the 80s,
Yeah.
records would be pretty popular, like trying to get a record.
Yeah,
I mean,
Guinness Book of World Records is being printed.
yes.
That exists.
Yes.
No longer, RIP.
Isn't it? I thought it was still going.
I mean, have you seen a book?
I saw one a couple of years ago.
A couple of years, was that 2012?
No, it would have been maybe 2 years ago.
All right, well, whatever. Print media is dead.
As we record an audio podcast.
That's right. This is the digital future. So they look at that. They look at Skyfest and they go, 1 million balloons? I don't think so.
1 million balloons.
Yeah.
Is that Skyfest?
That was Skyfest.
That's a lot of balloons.
But that is a lot of balloons.
Who blew them up?
I don't know. I don't know about Skyfest.
Did they get like 1 million people just to blow one balloon, and then?
I don't
or
think
did
they
have
would have done that. No, I don't think so.
They would have 1,000 people blowing. What's the mass? Another 1,000 balloons.
I don't think they're getting 1,000 people.
So just machines. Then.
I mean, maybe they got 1,000.
That's boring.
I don't know.
It's the 80s.
What else are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No internet.
They set the date. They go, all right, let's go Saturday, September 27th, 1986.
Fun fact. 3 days before I was born.
Really?
Yes, 3 days before I was born.
Oh, there you go. Fun fact.
Fun fact. I wouldn't have mentioned it unless it was like
I'm having fun.
I actually existed. You didn't.
Yeah, well, cool. You're old. All right, so choose the date. Got to choose a company to do it.
27th of September, 1986.
That's the one.
3 days before I was
Probably
born.
not going to matter that you remember that, other than it's September.
Like I said, the only reason I remember 3 days before my actual birth or day of birth.
Sure. So they set a date, and they're like, all right, who do we get to do this? The best company name for this, Balloon Art by Treb. What are they going to do? Balloon Art.
Who's Treb?
Some bloke. Treb Heining.
Oh, so it's an actual name.
It is, yeah. It's a guy known for balloon art in the 80s.
Was balloon art a thing in the 80s?
Sounds like it. There's a guy making a company for it. What? I've never seen a balloon arch, let alone a company designing...
Art or arch?
Art. Balloon art.
Art. Yeah, right. So where's, I've never heard of balloon
I
art.
guess they're doing, balloon artworks. Like sticking it to a structure, making a... I don't know.
Or was it something like... I know you probably haven't researched it, but...
Not at all.
Is it something like was it the Macy's Day Parade where they do the big balloons?
Maybe.
Is that what their company...
Nah,
he's got a company. He's got to be doing something.
When I looked into it briefly, it seemed like it was just regular sized balloons making art, and apparently world records.
Okay.
So they start 6 months of planning.
Sure.
Right? That doesn't, to me, seem like a lot.
So it's 1 million balloons. I think it would take 6 months just to blow them up.
They're going for 2 million.
The Balloonfest is going for 2 million.
They're going to double it.
Wow.
Yeah, they decide on 2 million. So they get this Treb bloke in, and a guy called Tom Holowok lead it up. That's probably not how you pronounce it.
It's an interesting name.
Yep. He heads up the whole project, right? So Treb seems to be doing all the balloony stuff. Treb seems to be doing all the, logistics and building the big structure that I'm going to tell you about in a minute. So that's what they're doing. So original plan, 2 million balloons, like I said, going to be housed in a rectangular box, which is the size of a city block. And you should see photos of this thing. It's phenomenally big. It's 76 meters by 46. So that's 250 feet by 150.
So say that again in meters.
76 meters by 46 meters.
Right. So that's pretty much half a football field.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost the width of a football field.
Yeah.
Almost the length. 3/4 of the length. Yeah. So this thing's a city block. Right. This thing's massive. And it's 3 stories tall.
3 stories tall.
Yeah. And that's before the balloons fill up.
Which is 3 stories is what? 8 meters?
Yeah, something like that. 8 meters, 9 meters. It's pretty tall.
That's huge.
And that's just the structure. That's not this. They've got a mesh net over the top, right? They've got this big mesh net, one piece, covers the whole thing so they can chuck the balloons up.
And the balloons are going in it. And
they're making the balloons in the structure.
Right. Letting them go
into this net, right?
So I imagine they'd have to do it pretty quick because if they're using helium balloons don't hang around like the helium.
Day. They did it on, I think, the day of they were doing it.
Yeah, the helium
Yeah.
gets less floaty.
Yeah. That comes into it.
Okay. Oh, I'm getting ahead of the game here. Looking up.
So, fun fact about the mesh net. This is fun for me, probably not for you. Same company that made the cargo netting for the space shuttle made the mesh net.
That is a fun fact. I was going to ask before. Balloon Art by Treb.
Yeah.
Does the company still exist today?
Don't think so.
Okay.
Don't think so. Might have been something to do with this.
Right.
So they build this giant structure, and it's got to not only hold those 2 million balloons, but it's got to deal with those summer storms that can be blown in off Lake Erie. All right, so they reckon 90 mile per hour winds it's got to be able to stand. They got these big balloons on top as well, like big weather balloons. The idea of them is they'll pull the net up.
Yes, the weather balloons will release the smaller balloons, right? Yes.
Yeah.
I have the mental image in my head.
All this has to deal with 90 mile per hour winds, possibly.
Right.
So they're deciding on a location in the city, right? So they go southwestern quadrant of Public Square. Means nothing to me, means nothing to you, but picture middle of town. You've got this little square that's like
The park, open park. Yeah.
Right. It's on the southwestern quadrant. They've got this big building, terminal tower. Kind of looks like the Empire State Building. But that's like the center point of the city, and it's going to be the backdrop for when they release these balloons.
Lovely photo.
So they're going to have tons of, it actually, like, look up some photos of it. It looks beautiful.
If we decide to make a social media page to go along, I'm sure some photos or something to go with it.
Sure. First problem starts the night before. So they've built the structure. Everything's ready.
Structure's built. They haven't started blowing up balloons yet.
Haven't started blowing up balloons, but
The weather balloons?
they are up.
Right.
Weather balloons are up. Night before, summer storm comes rolling in. Problem one, structure can't stand the storm.
Oh,
Immediately starts ripping off the tarps on the outside. Does damage to the balloons up top. They're popping, they're falling down. Whole thing's in trouble. Everyone's running around with their hair on fire. They're like, oh, our event's going to be ruined. Turns out, no, it won't. Stick the tarps back on. But kind of ominous. The thing isn't built to withstand storms.
right. So you say a storm's rolled in.
Yeah.
September in Australia is spring.
So these are autumn storms.
Right. So it is autumn time.
So I keep calling them summer storms because one of the places that I researched said summer storms.
Right.
Not summer at all.
But we get we get tropical storms here. So just a tropical-ish type.
Not
storm.
tropical at
It's
all.
not
Way
tropical
too far
at all,
north.
But that kind of storm, like winds.
It's a thunderstorm.
A thunderstorm.
It's got rain.
Yep.
It's got heavy winds.
Yep.
It's blowing apart the
90 km/h winds, did you say?
90 mile per hour.
90 miles. So what's that in kilometres? 150 km/h?
1.6, isn't it? 1.6.
So 60 miles is 100k. And so 90 is another half. So 150 km/h?
Yep. So fast winds.
Very
Not
fast
sure
winds.
if that's what happened the night before. Doesn't sound like it was as strong as they had expected.
Well, if it's meant to withstand that and it didn't withstand it, maybe you had gusts over that.
Yeah, I mean, like the structure's fine. The tarps just blew apart, blew up some balloons.
So the structure's
They work
fine.
all night.
Yep.
They work all night, get it fixed. So it's all good. But it's kind of ominous. You haven't even started and something's gone wrong.
Something's gone pear-shaped.
So they fix it up. Let's go. We get to the day. It's the 27th. They've got 2,500 students and volunteers inside the structure. They're blowing up these balloons, right? Some of the volunteers and students are also fundraising. They're selling balloons. You get 2 balloons for $1. I guess it's just fundraising, right?
Yeah, that's right. I've got to keep that in mind. Fundraising event. Sure. For homeless, whatever they...
Yeah. You got 2,500 people doing this. They're trying to get them to do it like 2 a minute. Like they're talking quick.
It was 2 million to do. That's...
People are like taping their fingers up because they're getting chewed up and like...
Oh, yeah. I hate that when you're trying to tie balloons.
Yeah.
Like, just doing enough for a party where you do maybe 10 or 15 for a kid's birthday party, something like that. It tears them up. Yeah.
There's like footage of people with their fingers just completely taped up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Person didn't even think of that.
I read a story, like an interview with one person, and they were like, yeah, I left. Like, I didn't even want to see him go because my fingers hurt so much. I just wanted to go home. So they didn't even stay around for the big release.
Wow.
Yeah. So they that's how they're making money. That's how they're trying to make money. They're sponsoring these balloons, right? They're working hard.
So when you say you buy a balloon, then you're not actually buying balloons to blow up and take home. You're putting your name on it or something like that.
I don't know. I guess maybe they're just like paying money and that's going towards it.
For some reason, when you said 2 balloons for $1, you're taking a balloon home, blowing up, giving it to your kids.
Yeah, I don't know if I would pay $2 for a balloon.
I didn't even think it was the actual balloons that released. Right. Anyway, so cool. Fundraising. So 2 million balloons.
Yeah.
2 balloons for $1. They're looking to raise $1 million.
That's the idea.
Right.
They got 2,500 people. Not enough. There's a storm coming. Again. Another storm. Storm's brewing, and they're like, all right, we hope we can get 2 million done by noon. Not quick enough. Gets to about 1 o'clock. They've only got 1.4 million balloons.
Still a record.
Great effort.
Still a record.
1.4 million balloons in like 8 hours.
Yeah, it's still a record. And
that is still the record.
700,000.
So they go, all right, this storm's coming in. We might have to call this whole thing off if this storm hits. Let's release them. So they go, all right.
Yeah, the premature release.
Premature release. Does break the record. So 1:30 comes, they let those balloons go, the mesh net comes off. Unbelievable amount of balloons comes out. It is beautiful. Horrific for the environment, I'm sure, but beautiful.
From our point in time now, yes, we know now that that's horrific for the environment.
Well, they knew at the time as well.
Oh, okay, and they still did it anyway.
Yeah, that'll come up.
Great fundraising.
Yeah. So...
Not fundraising for the environment then?
No, not at all. They released the 1.4. That's the record. Everyone starts celebrating, patting each other on the back. Great job. What they don't realize is this storm is going to bring havoc to the entire city and beyond, because the balloons start going north over the lake.
All right, I'll stop you there.
Yeah.
Now that we got this far into it, would you like me to make a prediction into what's happening or what's going to happen, what the catastrophe is?
I think you should.
What I'm feeling is that the balloons are going to go towards the storm.
Yep.
Going to pop, and then all this balloon is going to start landing on the city, causing chaos everywhere.
Close.
Okay.
Close. So you got one bit right. Hits the storm.
Yep.
Out over Lake Erie. And what happens is they start getting blown back south. So they start coming over the city. They start falling. Balloons should, in theory, go up, get to about 5 miles up, pop, end of story, right? Or they just stay up until they're completely deflated and then just fall down.
Fall down.
But not when there's a cold front coming through. So the cold front starts pushing them down. So the balloons start heading north. They hit the cold front of this storm, and approximately 1 million, or should I say estimated 1 million of the balloons, so 1 million of the 1.4 million, immediately falls into the lake.
That's right, there's a lake there.
There is a lake, and this lake is big.
So they popped and fall in the lake?
They do not pop.
No, they're still inflated.
They just get pushed straight down.
Right.
And as soon as they're wet, I imagine they've got enough weight on them to hold them down, right?
So the cold affects the helium, makes it less floaty.
Yep.
Drops them into the lake.
That's right. So now you've got 1 million of these things floating around on the lake. You've also got 400,000 of them flying back in over the city. And what that causes is absolute insanity on the roads, as you can imagine. So you're driving along.
And they're ground level.
Yeah, so they're coming down.
Right.
Yeah, they've already hit the lake and the rest of them are over the city and now they're falling like rain. So you imagine you're driving along like, oh, what's going on here? What's all these balloons? Oh, I've just run into the back of a truck. So there was heaps of crashes all over the city, right?
Right.
So that's the first thing that happens. Is all these crashes start happening. People start having accidents because they're looking at the balloons. They're trying to swerve to get away from them. Yeah, not good.
It's a super villain and he's attacking us with slightly inflated helium balloons.
No. See, I never look at a balloon and go, oh, that'll kill me.
No.
It might.
From now on, I'll definitely be looking at helium balloons in a different light. They're dangerous.
Yeah. And so not only does this cause havoc on the roads, there's an airport, Burke Lakefront Airport. It's literally against the front of the lake.
So we joke that they're dangerous.
Yeah.
Were there any deaths caused by these balloons? You said there's lots of car accidents. Were there any deaths?
Not on the roads.
Okay.
And
oh no. Oh no.
Yep. The airport closes. It's closed for half an hour. Mayhem, as you can imagine. Hate missing a flight, but you're going to. Then they start going throughout the rest of the countryside. So they're going further south. How far do you think a balloon will travel?
Let's have a random guess. 15 kilometers.
50 kilometers away in Medina County, Ohio, there's a woman called Louise Nowakowski, and she's got some beautiful thoroughbred Arabian horses.
Oh.
And they're in the paddock, and they start getting rained upon.
Oh.
How do you think a horse reacts to that?
I'm sure it'd freak out.
Yeah, not good. It went ballistic and ran into a fence and gave itself permanent injuries.
Oh, and they're purebred Arabian.
Yeah.
And I know it's 80s, but they would be expensive.
She sued for $100,000 in damages.
For one horse?
Yeah. Yeah, it was settled outside of court, so we don't know how much she actually got for it. But yeah, $100,000 is what she wanted. It does get worse.
Still no deaths yet?
No deaths.
Okay.
So we're on Lake Erie again. This is where the 1 million balloons fell in the water. Mm-hmm. Absolutely blanketed. It looks ridiculous. Like if you see it, you'd be like, this is a joke, right? There's balloons everywhere.
I'm kind of getting a mental image. I've seen something this week. Yep. It was a Facebook video. There's a lake or a water holding place in, I think it might be Los Angeles, and they use black plastic balls.
Yeah.
To float on the lake, and it causes a shadow, which stops some
I've seen this. Yeah.
Some sort of chemicals and reactions. So that's what I'm picturing right now. This lake just.
Yeah, it's probably not as intense as that.
Okay.
Because it's not intentional, but.
No, I know.
Yeah, and they're all multicolored. Would be kind of cool if you didn't know kind of what happened. So there's so many balloons that they get caught in currents and stuff. For weeks later, they're finding them on the Canadian side. So they've gone in the water.
And they're still inflated, or they're
still inflated.
Right.
Yeah, and then for months afterwards, they're finding popped ones as well.
Smaller, but still inflated. Right.
And the Canadian side is 88 kilometres away, so 58 miles.
They've travelled 88 kilometres.
Yeah.
Via water.
Yeah. So they land in the water, 88 k's across.
Okay.
Yeah. worse than that was there was a search and rescue operation happening at the same time as the release. So on the 26th, the day before, there was two fishermen, a Raymond Broderick and Bernard Solzer. They got in their little dinghy, little boat. I don't know if dinghy is an international term.
It's not. It's an Australian term. Okay,
tiny boat. I think it was like 12 foot, maybe.
It might be international. I'm thinking of tinny. We call them tinnies, like little tin boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a 12-foot metal boat.
Yep.
Right? They're going fishing. They get out on the lake.
The storm the night before would have hit them. Is that what happened?
Well, they don't really know. And you'll find out why. Spoiler alert, because they died. So they didn't return on the night of the 26th. And early on the 27th, the families report them missing.
Well, like you said, I imagine it had something to do with the storm. Storm's coming in from the north.
Yeah. So they start a search and rescue, the Coast Guard. And pretty quickly, they find the boat is up against the break wall. Seems like it's anchored. Mm-hmm. So what they reckon happened is this boat has capsized. The guys have been left in the water to swim. Boat's sort of righted itself against the break wall. Now they don't know where they are.
Yep.
So they start the search. They get boats out. They get a helicopter. Helicopter can't fly. There's a blizzard of balloons.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So they can't use the balloon. No, they can't use the helicopter.
I'm now getting a mental image of what it would look like. A helicopter flying through just a million balloons.
From what I heard, they did fly it. They just decided it was way too dangerous.
Yeah, like what would happen?
Yeah.
Would the rotors get gunked up with like pop balloon, or would I don't know. The wind keep the balloons away from the actual helicopter? Or
all I know is don't ever want to do it.
No.
I don't trust helicopters to begin with.
Really?
No.
Oh, good. I've been in one once.
I'm sure it's great, but like planes want to fly, right?
So do helicopters.
Helicopters don't. They want to beat the air until they beat it into submission. If that engine goes, well, you're just a rock.
It's true. And it's the same in a plane. If the engines go in a plane, you're just a rock that glides.
Yeah, but it glides. What's a helicopter going to do?
Not very well.
Oh, but they do. Anyway, not the point. So the helicopter can't fly. So you've still got the boats in the water, right?
Sure.
Can you imagine how hard
the water's full of balloons, though?
Yeah, that's right. Imagine how hard it would be to see a head bobbing with a million balloons in the water.
Yeah.
So there's news reports of like newsreaders on the water, and they're like, it's impossible. Look at it. How would you find anyone? And yeah, there's just balloons everywhere.
So they couldn't find the two fishermen because of the balloons.
So that's what they theorize, right? So sadly, 2 weeks later, or within 2 weeks, they find both bodies washed up on the edge of the lake. They can't absolutely say that they were still alive, but theoretically still alive. Now they can't search. Fishermen are dead.
Right, and they're probably saying that if the balloons weren't there,
they could have found them.
Could have, not for certain.
Yeah,
could have. Right.
Yeah, so not certain, but most sources attribute their deaths to Balloonfest. So the wife of one of the fishermen, so the wife of Raymond, this is Gail Broderick. She sued United Way as well for $3.2 million, and just like the horse trainer, settled out of court. So we don't know what she got. But you would hope that she got something, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And now they're the only two deaths attributed to this Balloonfest, or is there?
Thankfully, they're the only two.
Okay.
But pretty bad still.
It's awful. People died.
Yeah.
And that's not even taken in the environmental cost of however many marine animals sucked on a balloon and
sucked on a balloon. Yep. Well, there are some other noteworthy fallouts, and one of them is the 1.4 million balloons that ended up in the environment. While United Way believed the balloons were biodegradable, which means that they thought they were going to sort of be gone within 4 months, balloons washed up for months afterwards, and further studies showed that it could take up to 4 years for those balloons to degrade.
Wow.
Yeah. So these are just latex balloons. And
there was no one out collecting them, trying to get rid of them. They just left them out there.
It's the 80s, man. We got crappy music to listen to.
That's crazy. Like, you've caused this drama. Wouldn't you get someone out there to...
Yeah, so they didn't. But thankfully, this event and others like it have eventually led to banning balloon releases in most US states, the UK, and here in Australia. So
the record, that's the current record standing?
Nope.
Didn't count?
No. Well, it did.
Oh.
But 2 reasons why it's not considered the
Don't tell me
record.
someone's letting more go.
Later that year.
Oh, no.
Later that decade. So within the decade.
Within the 80s still. Someone's looked at this and gone...
I think it was Disney.
Oh, they want their record back.
Yeah.
But they've looked at the catastrophe that happened and went, we're going to do that again.
They went, surely it can't happen twice, right?
No.
Yeah. So someone did break it. The other reason it doesn't... it did get officially recorded in the Guinness World Record book. It did get... I think it was in the 1988 edition. They got credited for the largest release. But Guinness shortly afterwards decided to not record environmentally unsound records. So they don't record largest balloon release anymore.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Because why would you want to do that?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to promote that. That's fair.
Especially because nobody went and cleaned up, right?
No.
Yeah. And possibly my favourite of the fallouts is that even though the event was a fundraising event, it cost United Way $500,000. So it didn't even make them any money.
So it cost $500,000.
Yeah.
They released 1.4, which is people pay $2, so that's $700,000. Then they got...
Well, you don't know that they actually got sponsorship for all that.
That's right. Yeah. That's true. But just theoretically.
Yeah.
Then they got settled out of court for... And she was asking for 100,000, and then the other family was asking for
3.2 mil,
and that was settled too. That's a lot of money.
And that 500,000 is before those lawsuits.
Yeah. And
so
this is the 80s, so 3 million is a lot of money in the 80s.
Of money. It is a lot of money they lost.
Yeah.
So in the end, poor planning and execution cost them.
So how long did they keep the record for then? Because you said it was later that decade.
Yeah, couldn't find who it was that beat it. I would assume because they looked at this and went, let's not record these anymore.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I know it was Disney.
It wouldn't even been worth it because you would have held the record for a year.
Yeah. So
So you mentioned the one Disney did it the year before. Mm-hmm. Anything happened from that one?
Nope.
That was perfectly fine.
I mean, I'm sure they also messed up the environment, but yeah, no one died, no major catastrophes. They probably chose a location that didn't have a storm coming. So yeah, no one died in that one.
Just this one.
Yeah.
In Cleveland.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So they didn't get their goal. I mean, they got their goal of world record, but no one remembers it. It's obscure now.
Oh, I'd never heard of it.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it either. So thank you to, I think it was Fascinating Horror on YouTube. I saw that one.
Oh, okay.
Great channel. Check it out.
Cool. Shout out to them.
Yeah, that's the story, boy.
That's the story. That's a cheeky tale. Oh, it's interesting. Like you said, never heard of it and gone for a record. And who would have thought, like, releasing that many balloons and then, I wouldn't have thought the storm would affect them as so. And
no, pretty bad. Like, I would not look at a storm coming and go, oh yeah, that'll kill people.
No, well, the balloons plus the storm, but I'd imagine like helium. Is helium flammable?
Yeah.
Because what was the Hindenburg? Was that helium? Or?
That was helium. No, that was hydrogen.
It was hydrogen.
Yeah, helium's not.
No, helium's not. Because I'm thinking if for some chance one of the balloons got hit by lightning and it was flammable, like that could be bad too.
Yeah. That was actually another piece of fallout. A whole bunch of people were like, maybe you shouldn't use helium in that larger quantity when it's used for science and medicine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they didn't cause anything, but people not happy with them for that.
Yeah, right. Didn't think that either.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's the story. Balloonfest 86. Don't do it again, boys.
No, well,
not a good plan.
I've heard of people, like the people don't do it anymore in smaller quantities either. Like it's just frowned upon, I suppose.
Yeah. Chuck rice.
Chuck rice. Oh, no, that's...
rice kills birds too.
That kills birds.
Just don't chuck anything.
Rice swells up in birds' stomachs and kills birds.
Done.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do we want to give a sneak peek of the next episode? Or
I mean, if you've got your idea.
I've got my idea. So I guess we want to explain that the idea is that one episode...
I'll do one, you do one. Tell each other stories we don't know.
Exactly. So I'm planning on doing the Battle of Midway.
Oh.
Have you heard of the Battle of Midway?
I've heard of it. I don't know anything about it.
No.
Is it World War II?
World War II.
All right. Well, that'll be...
interesting events that happened in that battle that pretty much changed the course of history.
Okay. Well, I look forward to it. That'll be our next episode.
Cool.
All right. Well, speak to you then.
Where are we going to put this? Are you going to put it on...
It's going to be on any of the pipes, any of the social pipes.
What you can?
Yep. Spotify, Google Podcasts, pretty much anywhere that you can find a podcast, it should be.
All right. We're going to ask for a rate and review, or are we going to be that kind of podcast? Or are we just going to
do what you want.
Do what you want?
Do it if you want. It'll help us,
good.
But I'm not going to force you.
So, and you were mentioning we're going to do fortnightly releases?
Fortnightly. So this one should be going up on the...
Don't date it. Yeah,
you know what? We'll release them on Tuesdays. Let's say
You're
Tuesday.
just going to say Tuesdays? You're not going to give an actual date?
I'm not going to give a Tuesday.
Okay, that's fair.
I have to edit this, and I don't know if I will.
I also love this because, again, we've never done a podcast before.
No.
And we clearly don't know how to end a podcast because we're just rambling on about random stuff.
Yeah.
So,
you know what? Let's just hard cut it.
hard cut it?
Hard cut.
Just hard fade? Not even a fade. Just
Off. See you later. All right, bye.
All right, thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Balloonfest 86, that was very interesting.
See you next time for the Battle of Midway.
Battle of Midway.
Bye-bye.